push lineup. You mentioned no Beastmaster ban, no Lycan ban, no Pugna ban out as well. So those are all viable options for LGD, but they do opt to draft a little bit differently. They go for the Bane Ember Spirit. So you've got the Bane to hold down the Pangolier. You've got ways of dealing with the hero before the Rolling Thunder comes out, or just keeping him still.
Remaining.
And the Ember Spirit, of course, is just a really fast hero to come online. We did see Keen Gaming play it last game. It didn't quite have the best times. I think it's really just down to where they were forced to run the Ember Spirit. Hopefully enough LGD can get the lane they want, and if you can get started with the Ember Spirit, it can snowball quite hard. So Keen Gaming might have to look into picking a hero that can keep that Ember Spirit in place. They could go for the Beastmaster themselves if they wanted to. It's a really good response to the Ember, and it does give Keen some push potential, so they could just pick up the Beastmaster here. It's really good value against that Ember.
Kane, oh, they respond with an Enigma.
Radiant team ban.
Honestly, not my favorite pick here, mainly because you're picking into a Bane, right? Like, the Bane can just cancel off the black hole from far away. The Ember Spirit can eat your Eidolons. There's already decent response from LGD up against what the Enigma brings to the table.
There's too much. Like, you've got 3 more picks to go for LGD. I respect the fact that Keen Gaming at least does ban out the Rubik, so they're not going to give F-Flat that much value. It's just, when you have a BKB cancel, when you have a spell that goes through BKB like Bane's Fiend's Grip, it's the thing with Enigma though, it's never about the black hole anymore. It's about just destroying lanes with Eidolons. That's the whole point, and making a big push of your own with the Helm of Dom. But every time we've seen it, the hero just seems so lackluster, because apart from that, you never throw out the black hole because it always gets cancelled anyway.
You really miss a big factor without that black hole. Even the push potential here for Keen is reeled back because of that Ember Spirit. Like, the Bane doesn't do anything, but the Ember Spirit clears out those Eidolons nicely. You've got the Centaur now to run in as initiation for LGD, which doesn't really do much against the Enigma. It can kind of deal with the Eidolon, but it gives a stable way of running away when they see the Pangolier come in. Gives them a really strong way of getting into the fights as well. I like that stable pick from LGD. I think you've got some pretty great lanes that can come out. And Keen, I appreciate that they're doing something different. Like, you don't see the Enigmas too often. The success, as you've mentioned, has been less than stellar for the most part. Like, something just feels off about the laning presence of the Enigma. I think it's down to whatever you partner it up with, so you have to get a pause for that, or pause tree that's not as greedy, right? Like, you need to be able to split that space between either a support Enigma or core Enigma. It just needs a lot more prioritization in whatever you decide to do with it.
I think it must be a pause 3 though. Like, you could run a pause 4 Enigma and just deny creeps from the lane and just go to the jungle if that's how you really want to play it. But if you're gonna run an offlane Pango, it's not the greatest solo offlane. It's actually pretty rough for the hero. So
yeah, it's not a good time, and that's really the issue with the Enigma. Now, with the Disruptor, you do shoot up in teamfight potential here. If you can drop the black hole with the Static Storm and the Kinetic Field, it's super strong. It's just, again, Enigma, the value of that black hole is brought into question, mainly because you can't get off
the Siren.
Yeah, LGD?
No, Keen.
Keen, they could, and that's really the safest way for them to get the setup they want. It's just, that would be super greedy. That would tie them into tree cooldowns, the Black Hole, the Static Storm song, and if you want to count it as well, the Rolling Thunder, to really start applying their own pressure. I would much prefer if Keen went for something a bit more push focused. It's just that LGD with their Luna pickup does kind of clear out the waves quite fast. They do go for the Spectre. So you've got some global presence, you've got scalability. they're gonna have to slow the game down for that spec though. Like you're gonna have to see that Spectre eat a lot of space on the map. You've already got the Enigma who's gonna be kind of eating some space up as well. Their last pickup has to be somewhat selfless to allow that Spectre to really shine.
5 seconds
Where do you
remaining.
think LGD is planning to put this Ember? It's not, surely it's not a pos for Ember. I can't remember seeing FY ever play support Ember Spirit. Then I asked myself as well, is it going to be a pos for Luna? It's one of those other weird supports right now that have come out that just kind of work and kind of don't sometimes. It's very hard to know. I'm just curious now, because are we waiting for a Somnus hero? Are we waiting for... What are we waiting for from LGD? Like, they've got their off to War Runner.
I reckon if they are going to run one of these as a support, it should be the Luna. We haven't seen a poor Luna in a very long time. Especially since her R got reworked. So way back when that R was changed up, that's when you saw Luna pop in as a support. There is still room for that to really shine here. We have seen like a couple of teams, probably not from DPL-CDA, but we have seen teams run the support Luna, although it doesn't sound like it fits into how FY plays for the most part. It definitely is a bit more passive than you'd expect. But if you were going to go for that, I would generally prefer the Luna, because the Ember really shoots up with a lot of farm. You would want that early prioritization on the Ember Spirit, and you know, it just scales a bit nicer. Luna, I mean, it's solid, but it's just there are good reasons why you don't.
I like the conflict from Kane at least. Like, looks pretty nice going into this. You know, for their draft does look a bit greedy. They need someone that can just be online and ready to go whenever they need that. And Kunkka is one of those heroes that doesn't really require too much fun. LGD, however, will take Monkey King, and I could say the exact same thing about their draft, John, with the finishing off of the Monkey King now. So Somnus is going to be on that mid Monkey up against the mid Kunkka. Very hard matchup for the Kunkka to win. You've got FY on the Luna, so it is a position for Luna coming up. And well, John, if they get their item timings, Chalice is able to get a nice Spirit Vessel timing, which he will, and Somnus just does what Somnus does on Monkey King. I don't see you ever get Erica online.
It's a really tall order for Blood to kind of buy that space for the Spectre. You're gonna have to play around your team fights, which is potent. Like, once you have 6 on Fantasy, once you have 6 on Shafu and YDS, you really have to force something out. That's where King Gaming's lineup shines. They could try to go for a push with the Enigma as well, so you can transition from a team fight into a push, but they have to be active. They have to play around the timers, otherwise, you know, when you kind of blow it, you are massively vulnerable. LGD does not rely on those big team fight spells. They just run at you with this kind of lineup. They do not require such massive cooldowns to go off. You just jump in, maybe expand the Fiend's Grip from Bane is going to be key. But beyond that, they have enough power just from the natural potency of these heroes that they're not constrained in setting the pace of this game.
No. We'll see how it all pans out. Keen Gaming, they definitely want to try and force this to a Game 3 if they can. We did see Keen yesterday pulling off their first series victory up against Newbie. So they definitely like to at least try and force it to a Game 3 and make this series more competitive. LGD, however, you know, they're not looking to waste any time, John. No. They're looking to get the job done and go home. You know, it's dinner time soon for them.
Oh yeah.
Of course, after this series, in case you weren't aware, we should be having VG versus SAG. So that should be a pretty fun matchup after this one. That does mean another very interesting 1v1 that we'll be seeing, I'm sure. I don't know what, but hopefully it's not those techies again.
Oh god. You know, it's like the Chinese scene votes for these 1v1 mids to answer questions we never want to ask. Like, who would win between Broodmother and Techies? It's like, no one wants to ask that, but someone has to find out. And we do get to find out from these matches.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that. I hope Keen Gaming is able to get this draft online so we can see a relative game. I've got to say, really just does not look amazing.
No.
With this draft, but it could. That's the point, right? Like, it could be really, really flashy.
Yeah, it just rides on a lot of factors, but if they get the team fight, then it's great. It's certainly not like game 1, where you could outright say LGD outdrafted. In this case, Keen's not quite out of their element of this draft, it's just the conditions are so much harder. So it takes a lot more to get it working, but once it's working, it's just so many big plays that could come out here for them.
Begins.
Well, Chalice a bit early there. Tried to go for the sleight of fist bounty pickup. Doesn't quite get it. Nice attempt.
Yeah, it does constrain him to level 1 sleight of fist, but I suppose, yeah, it's not too rough. Yeah, it should allow him to last hit and kind of dance around the swashbuckle, which is the big part. You can kind of telegraph where that is and just dodge all the damage coming out from this Pangolier, and suddenly you take away the presence of that hero. If he's not applying harass onto you, then it doesn't really matter he's in lane.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't need Flame Guard level 1. There's no magic damage. It's literally all physical anyway, so... we'll see.
人自己塔下的补刀。
Very, very hard, let me tell you, John, to try and lane up against the Bay. It's impossible to win the harass wars as a Pangolier.
Yeah, it's like you've got a range disadvantage. X-Nova can always pop the brain sap in case he actually does drop low, and it's just so much harder to maintain that presence. And YDS would rather chop down the Chalice, of course, if he can catch him in, but...
Top lane, Fantasy does set up first blood, and in fact, FY now can glimpse back with that level 2 of Fantasy, which is great timing coming up from Keen Gaming. FY is going to go for a TP play. He is not going to make it. That's one of the better starts you could have asked for if you are Keen Gaming.
Yeah, they managed to really get this lane. They are taking advantage of the moment where LGD's top, so supports Luna doesn't do much beyond giving you that Lunar Blessing at level 1 to even 2. Level 3, maybe you can start applying a little bit more, but it's really easy to harass out, and that's exactly what Keen needed to get done, although Erica is copying a lot of damage now, just from Fantasy walking away for a moment.
When you've got a support Luna. It reminds me of the support sniper, but it's not. The support sniper can kind of dish out harassment, because the Luna really can't. It's rough, right? Like the full Sentinel is basically solo off-laning it. Kind of, but he's also having a support soak XP off him.
Yeah.
So he's at a real disadvantage here, because FY can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, with level 2 you have the Loosened Beam at least to stop the chase, and you can apply some decent damage. It's just that your attack range is so short. Even Fantasy can kind of orb walk a bit better.
I said he couldn't do anything, but FY just has this perfect positioning every time. And he continues to run forward and apply punches him every single time he shows up. Shouldn't be done doing anything, what I should say.
Fantasy's dead.
There you have it, all 11 gets a bit of revenge. Meanwhile, Bonnie Fu also goes down on the Enigma. Chance will pick that one off the Ember, so LGD kind of returning the favor with to their own. It's just those multiple challenges like you tend to see in the very early stages of the game, right? Like those level 2 time really make the difference in this high level kind of play.
Yeah,
This picked off. Somnus. It's a fair fight. Does get the Jingle Mastery. Blood is just going to walk away. Gets a nice Tidebringer hit right to the face of Somnus.
That's a nice pick off for Keen. You didn't quite see Somnus actually get the bound of strike off, so he was kind of holding onto it for value. With a creep wave, it just doesn't come in, and he is punished.
Regeneration!
think there's one they've left Eric alone up that top lane. Like, he's running up now, the disruptor, but it's not great news for Erica.
No, it's definitely not. But you did get a lot of value from Fancy rotating in. Look, Samus is forced to walk back. He was disrupted. He was called back when he TP'd into mid, so he's missing out a lot there.
Well, Erica does drop, but Old Lemon should also go down here in Fantasy. So you lost that Spectre again. While I agree with you that, you know, it's really bad that someone's died there, he's still sitting at the top of the last hits board. I don't really think LGD cares.
Nah.
Now, even with the kill onto the Centaur, F5's gotten some free XP for himself.
The key factor here is that you're shutting down the Spectre, so Erica's farm is really slow. 11 last hits, 3 denies. That's behind your Enigma, that's behind your Kunkka, that's behind every single core on LGD. This means you're not going to be seeing the greatest timings for Erica, which means every other core in Keen has to be able to compensate for that. So you are seeing Xiaofu, for example, work for a fast Necrobook, as you'd expect, but that does mean you're going to be focusing on the push aspect instead. So is the push going to be enough to buy Erica the space? I really don't think that's going to be happening. It's just that LGD has so much more.
He's just getting dived. He's still sitting a little bit on that Enigma and he just can't do anything. Dallas literally just walked up to him with Flame Guard and ran around in circles. That's what it felt like.
There's just no presence on the Enigma, right? Like you just spawn Eidolons, you throw Maleficent out, and that's it. You, like with a support Pangolier around, you don't really have the best kill op, and that means you're not threatening this dual lane from LGD, which means Chalice just gets to farm and play aggressive at the same time.
He will enjoy that. Chalice with a nice double damage. Bottled up now. Could be even more aggressive, and Xiaofu is very far forward again. Chalice may just for that level 6 mark so he can guarantee the kill instead of wasting this double damage rune. But he's gonna find another kill event. I'm sure Xiaofu spotted up the double damage. No. Speaking of it, Fantasy does manage to find F5 X number. Will take out Fantasy before he reaches that boundary rune. How dare you steal my money, X Nova says.
Yeah, I think that was the end of that chase. FY trying to keep Fancy from grabbing that rune, and eventually X-Nova gets the signal and comes in. So that does leave Erica alone for a very long period, and you've reached a point where old 11 on the Centaur just cannot be shoved out of lane. He's got the regen from the Root of Help.
Yamfu's dead. Waited for the level 6 mark and Remnant's out.
Yeah, it's the Enigma's presence is just going.
Oh, why yes? He just swashbuckled it. It doesn't happen. And Dallas, he gets a double kill. Just like that.
Yeah, lands the chains, still had double damage, really easy cleanup. At this point, Keen Gaming, you should toss Xiaofu to jungle. There's nothing to be gained in this lane. Even YDS, perhaps just stack the lane, help Erica up top, because you're just feeding kills from Ember Spirit, who's now so far ahead, 3-0 at 7.5 minutes in. A really good start here for Chalice, and you just help Erica. That's really going to be the key here.
You really do need to invest that time. It's between Blood, because Blood is going to need to set the tempo of the game for Keen. But you may as well just ignore Xiaofu at this point. Like, there's no point helping this Enigma. He can always go to the jungle, and that's exactly what Xiaofu is doing now. He's just not going to sit in the lane any longer. I'm going to farm the jungle where I know it's safe. It's not great because you are giving Chalice free farm now on the Ember, but you were basically doing that anyway, plus more. So you're better off to stay on Ember. Just letting him hit creeps.
Yeah, it's gonna be free farm for the Ember for safe farm for your Enigma. You take that safe farm for Xiaofu. Already has the Necrobooks up, so they kind of wrote out that rough spot, and he is close to level 6. So you're gonna be seeing maybe an early investment in Black Hole. We're really not used to that. You do see a lot of heroes, a lot of players actually skip the Black Hole, but they need it, right? Like, just go down the lane, maybe consider going up top, going down mid, drop the Black Hole for 1 kill. That's it. Although, FY. Yeah.
But he's sitting duck. FY is running away just to ensure he doesn't feed it for those units. They're still going to chase him down. In fact, they commit Horde now, but Stampede comes out FY. He runs out of there. They hook onto FY again, so Erica should pick up that kill. But meanwhile, Chalice is taking 3 heroes out by himself. He needs some help. He does go down Somnus. He comes at the wrong time. He gets a bound strike off, but he's also going to die. Oh, a very messy engagement from LGD. It looked very, very nice to begin with, but
Your structures are fortified.
just one by one they kind of walked in and Chalice just didn't know when to back off.
Yeah, that's a bit... That was really optimistic from LGD to try to take that on. I mean,
Radiant's
once they
middle
found
tower
that
is
kill,
under attack.
should have been prime time to pull out, especially when they saw the haunt. And now, Keen Gaming gonna be pretty happy with the pickups they found. That gave Erica a kill. So you are giving this Spectre something to play with. It's still not much gold. Erica's still behind, but really not as far behind as you'd expect, right? Like 3.5k on our Spectre, considering all the harassment in that lane. Isn't quite the slowest start. It's still keeping up with Somnus at the very least, and Somnus had a pretty good mid, except for that one death. So I can't really say that the Spectre has been cut down. Eric's still hitting a decent time as long as you buy that space, and as long as Keen Gaming starts going out, like you see that black hole up on Xiaofu, they could go for something here.
Yeah, but look at Somnus right behind him in that invis, just waiting for him to pop it. Now 11 should be the target. They will not pop it. Somnus, he does just use the balance and now jumps in on Xiaofu. Xiaofu will hold on to the black hole. Looks like he ran out of mana anyway. And YDS will lose his courier as well. To make matters worse for Keen, Old 11 did end up getting away from all that.
Radiant's
Yeah,
middle
they
tower is under
did
attack.
expend the Rolling Thunder for that. Not the longest cooldown, but they miss out on a pretty good kill. And you see LGD grouping up. They can push out top lane. This is giving Cal space on bot to farm by himself. You've got level 6 in FY, so you've got that insane amount of magic damage that can fly out with the Eclipse. This is when the support Luna really starts to shine. Just so much presence once you have that level 6 up.
Everyone's top tower taken, though they want to go for a fight, Keen. They still have that black hole. Nice nightmare dodge on the turret for Old 11 on the boat. He's still going to fly in. Stampede dodge now on the boat. Just nothing connecting on Old 11. And with the now that hole going to be dropped. It does catch Tool. But anywhere near a challenge, he jumps in. They get Old 11, but they are starting to fall very, very low on the side of Keen Gaming. Torrent is there. It will not land on anything. And now Erica, he's a sitting duck. It's almost a full team wipe. The only man to walk out there is YDS. And he is not quite out yet. Somnus is making a little bit of a chase, but should be okay. FY Scout, do they really want the full team wipe? Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Balance strike, rather lose some beam and they get full team wipe.
Oh man, Keen, that was, well, not quite the ideal setup. They engage solely on Old 11. They throw everything out for the Centaur,
Radiant's
which is really not the target you should be aiming for. It's a really tanky hero. And so they expand all these big ults that they need to fight. This just means LGD, they're free to do whatever they want in the map for the next 2 minutes or so. No black hole to worry about. You will have Static Storm, but really without that black hole, it's not looking as scary as you'd expect. And LGD, they have to wait for FY's Eclipse to be up. So that's really the only big cooldown they worry about, but that's a support Luna, you know? It's not the biggest factor in determining these fights.
It definitely is not. Why am I gonna have a Helm of the Dom up pretty soon now? It's a pretty interesting little strat, John. With that Helm of the Dominator, you get an Alpha Wolf. And with your aura, the bonus damage is kind of insane. I think it reaches plus 80% or something on your base damage.
Yeah, it's really a lot of value for the aura stacking. And, you know, that's gonna help them pump up. The Monkey King's really gonna be enjoying that. Somnus' right click just shoots up from having FY around. So that is a lot of potent value. And, you know, Keen Gaming doesn't quite have any early item spikes like that just yet. Like, best one so far is Xiaofu, Necrobook, and Blood with what looks to be the armlet flying in. So he has a lot more leeway to push the Kunkka that's limits. It's just that this is probably not going to be bursting down many heroes. It's going to prolong Blood's presence, but you're not going to be getting additional damage that can help you melt true key targets on LGD's side.
Yeah, it's going to be rather problematic. Kane just falling behind again. Kane at work behind. And while you do get those key items up now, they are a bit late, right? Like that outlet timing isn't amazing.
No.
Like, Necro 1 book, yeah, it's basically just to be able to farm the Enigma. Sure, you can push a bit harder, but overall, like, you've got F1 there. No, he's gonna be able to farm those creeps anyway. In fact, Jack is actually kind of leaving them there. He wants that Necro creep, he doesn't get it. Horn is gonna fly in. Where are they going? Top lane, it's gonna be on X Nova, but he Nightmare dodges again the Rolling Thunder. He will not get away from the X Nova though. But that was 3 ultimates committed. Position 5 Baneful.
That wasn't really worth a lot of gold as well. Like, that kill for Blood was 185. So it's really not much. I don't think it's worth popping the Han. Granted, Eric is probably not going to be using that anyway, but why are we can man fight here?
I don't know why you'd man fight. He's so confident with YDS around. You don't have to go play Werika. Go down to Somnus, and even Somnus was confused. It's like, well, hold on a minute. There's a Spectre in my triangle trying to get my boundary and I'm still here.
Oh man. Just a lot going wrong for Keen. Erica actually opts for the Yasha build-up as well. So you're not going to be seeing like a slow build-up towards Radiance and suddenly a lot of damage and presence for that hero. Not happening here.
Oh, Black Hole, they do find Somnus. This could be very more worthwhile. And Somnus, bounce back, but he can't do anything else. It was very, very nice grip onto the Centaur, just forcing Old 11 back down to the bottom lane. And Xiaofu saw the opening and just immediately hits that Black Hole. Now Challenge wants to give it a revenge. Chains though, and now we're rolling Thunder. Keen Gaming, they may be able to turn this back. There's a static sword now onto that Atmosphere. They just don't have the damage. Old left, he will go straight after that. They can sharp eventually. Didn't manage to get out and help. They're not even running in. Economy there with some control and Chalice with chains. They are still going to come out on top. The best Gaming got was that Somnus kill, but you're even going to lose YDS here, who just had to go for the skip the creep wave, just to try to get there, go for a T2 tower. It just more happens the further they fall behind. Like he knows this stuff. I guess they're buying time.
They're buying time for a Spectre to build Blade Mail. Not the most confidence-inspiring build. You can sense that Erica wants to join these fights early, right? Like he wants to contribute to the team faster instead of a Radiance build-up. I don't think that's where Spectre shines. Like, you want the team fights to break off without you. Keen has the tools. They haven't had the opportunity. They just need to get the big black hole, which is easier said than done, of course. And when you expend it solo onto Somnus, afterwards, what do? Without the black hole, without the static storm, LGD could just dance around you. They didn't even have to expend the Eclipse yet on FY, and they're just gonna find quick guess again.
Yeah, I've got to, let me use it. He's got the R full for 12, so plus 30 from the alpha, plus 20% from the home of the Dom, plus 25% from the Lunar Blessing. So all up, my math is great. I do believe it is going to be 75% base damage added on everyone on his team. 75%. And they're choosing support sniper over this. Can you believe that?
I can, because I've seen it, and it's sad. I can believe that. They're gonna lose their tier 2 over here. They are TPing to defend, and FY.
Lips. Somnus doesn't want APs. Kung's command comes out of YDN. He got that Rolling Thunder and still twice surviving throughout all this. The control is going to be there for YDN. Now the Fiend Rip will be there on Erica, but also cancelled off an X-Nova. So they are struggling a little bit here, LGD. They're meaning to back up. Somnus can't get the battle to The Static Storm was their entire fantasy. And they are going to lose Somnus as well. Old 11 trying to run away, but he is eventually going to go down and has his double damage, gets his pants off, almost drops to that slight of 5th damage. He's thinking about going back in. Chalice wants to be wants to clean up. Blood.
Yeah.
He's gonna go down. Alice has remnants. He is safe. And that was a really bad team fight for LGD, but I suppose Chalice makes it better.
Yeah, it's a nice win for Keen. That does give him some key kills. Erica manages to finish up the Blade Mill off the back of that. You saw a really big Static Storm and a really disruptive Rolling Thunder coming out from YDS. FY just got choked out in the wall from all the bounces there, which still bothers me that you can bounce in that angle, but yeah, it happens. It's Dota 2 physics, doesn't have to be realistic, and it certainly pays off. They really have to keep doing that again and again. So you have Xiaofu Black Hole now, and the mech. You've got the sustain for Keen Gaming here to keep these fights going. You've got Black Hole. You know there's an opening here where FY doesn't have Eclipse, although it's gonna be it's back up now, but you can certainly make something happen. You don't have the haunt for Erica to just jump in, but if there's a moment for Keen Gaming that looks to be a clean time to fight, this is probably the best bet.
Yeah, the bet movement soon as well. Like the Aghanim Scepter's coming out on Y, probably in about 5 minutes or so. Top lane is Nova going to be caught out. Does Nightmare himself, but is almost certainly dead. Eric got a very nice kill for himself on the Spectre. He is second in network now, so he's feeling good. He's feeling a bit better than he was 5-10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's a better position for our spec. You mentioned some item pickups. You mentioned the Ags for FY. You also have to watch out for Chalice's Ags as well. So he's about 1,000 gold off on the Ember Ags, and we know how much more menacing the Ember Spirit becomes once that Ags is up. Chalice is really close to it, and that's probably going to come even faster than FY's. So Keen has to kind of be aware. I think they've spotted out the point booster earlier on, if they checked, but they probably maybe underestimated how much free space Chalice has had. He's only died once. They haven't really kept track of his safe lane Ember, and every single rotation has not caught Chalice out for the most part.
Slow and steady wins the race for Keen Gaming. They're just going to bide their time. Smoke is going to be there from PSG.LGD, and they may not have as much time as they think they do. Xiaofu does back off very nicely though. Came sense from here to realize something was coming. LGD should very easily be able to secure out this spot tier 2 tower. Not exactly what they wanted. They definitely wanted bonus on top of that, but they'll have to settle for an easy T2.
Still a good objective to take, and this does help everyone reach their Ags. Like I mentioned Chalice, you mentioned FY, we can't forget Thomas. He's also just about 300 gold, so all these Ags are lining up in a very good timer for LGD. Once Chalice and Thomas get it at the same time, they're really going to be forcing out fights.
Well, that looking at disgusting as well. It is so hard to go against that. Top lane, Yule's going to be there on Blood, who was trying to X himself back. Does throw a bow out, but now some more coming in from the side of GT. Nice little clumsy net there on Blood. The fly going to jump up now. There's going to be a TP attempt, but Chalice already has the chains there to cancel. The big pickup. Blood does lose his life.
Yeah, it's really, really unfortunate. Oh man.
Well, it's going to be a bit of a swashbuckle out from YDS. I think trying to pick that off. The Inscript should have lost. They're still going to go in though. Stampede. Xiaofu does have the black hole, but he does already have an opening right now, and Fantasy's already did. One is just going to try and roll himself up. And he should be okay. No, Somnus Primal Spring just perfect. And he found Xiaofu.
Oh, Somnus, his courier went through the tower, so his Ags is going to bleed by 3 minutes.
Buyback is there from Fantasy. Haunted from Erica. They're going to try while Somnus has overextended, and it looks like they should be able to find him. Nice little nightmare dodge attempt. He will not be able to really get it off, and Erica does pick a very important kill for the side of Keen Game. In fact, they're going to try for more now. We've still got that black hole. You may as well just try and commit it on one. We'll find next Nova. Chalice, but he does not want to let Spain die by himself. Looks like he has no choice.
That's a good set of kills for Keen. They hold on to Black Hole, so Xiaofu is going to have that option available later on, and he's finally working on his Blink. So he wants to play aggressive now that he's finished up the Guardian Greaves, and once you have that Blink, you can really start to see Keen pick up the pace. They have kind of struggled in the fights. They've only been really able to punish whenever LGD overextends, but the Blink on Xiaofu should enable them to get so much more done. You take a look at Erica as well. Manta style up and running, Diffusal next. The Fighting Spectre is starting to come online, and the damage that she can pump out is really big. So that's something LGD has to start being aware of. Like, Keen has held out long enough to bounce back in this game, and LGD has misstepped here and there. If they keep giving these kills away to Keen, you're going to see Erica grow into a bigger and bigger issue.
On that note, though, there is the Aghanim Scepter on FY now. Third on Chalice, and of course, the Somnus is just currently waiting for his courier to respawn, but there's big timings now. There's going to be a running at the side of Keen Gaming. And I'm not sure if they can really take the amount that's going to be fought. It's really important, especially with that Eclipse.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate how much damage it is. And the fire's already level 15. It's all he's on the level.
Now, the hard thing for Keen is that they don't have a pipe to mitigate that damage. So it's always going to be a lot of value. You do have a BKB at least on Blood, so you have a fresh 10-second charge just to mitigate that damage and the control. But beyond that, the rest of the team will be taking hard hits from FY.
Roshan can be taken very by LGD.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Bottom lane, they have balls there, but they do so, but the tier 2 is going to be perfectly safe. LGD will show up the top lane, they'll force in that tier 2 tower, and quite frankly, they take tier 2 towers a lot quicker if they choose to actually hit. But now they're just going to let the creep wave do that work.
Yeah, it's probably just looking for the response. Really wants to defend that anymore. They're gonna have to just give it a whirl. It's gonna be really hard playing into the April though.
Chalice now. You're either gonna get the X, the static black hole. You don't want to commit the black hole just on the Ember. You would if you had to. You are get pretty far behind if you can. So if you could actually find a kill opportunity, you will take it.
For sure. On fact, Chalice.
Bot lane, smoked up. They got the Ag on the which is why they're making this quick rotation. They're actually peering in from the river as well. Everyone just taking their own route. He's gonna get scouted out, but he will saw Somnus so he's just gonna roll in Thunder away. Gaming, they do avoid a pretty good gank from ODG, so be happy about that one. They do also have the high ground advantage right now, but yeah, still running in. It's only old weapon right now. He moves on both and he moves back. What comes down to get vision? Chalice, are you really jumping in? He is. Blood is gonna be there. He does not have X at the moment, so Chalice can just do whatever he wants. Valku does have Blitz up, just waiting for the perfect opportunity for himself to get big black hole available. It won't really come out. But he remains very, very split, not showing the hand quite yet. And nobody dies.
Yeah, they did have to spend the haunt from Keen without Erica finding anything, so they're not going to have that tool to jump into the back line as the next fight breaks out. That's something Keen has to really be careful about now. Erica is still going to be a bit exposed without having the haunt for easy access.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
I'll smoke up.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
He do spot Erica up the top lane, and Erica just doesn't want to sit in the base right now. Does save his TP scroll, so he should be okay, but it's no big it's fine. Now the Eclipse does scout him out. Nightmare is going to be there for next night. That was a little unnecessary, but it doesn't matter. Find a huge kill with OGD and I guess it's another positive about Eclipse, John. You can actually scale with this Chalice. It's going to go straight after Fantasy. Well, Fantasy doesn't want to miss that Storm because there's no one there to really follow up the DPS. And now he's also called Zhao Fu. Gets coming off. One gets around the corner. Now, Stampede coming in and a boot stop as well. The Primal Spring Somnus is going to be there with that damage. Getting off 1-1.
Yeah, not a good time for Keen. They hold on to their ults, so when the Enigma and Disruptor are back up, at least they'll have those cooldowns ready to go for the defense, and they don't have to worry about the Eclipse. Like, that's one thing with support Luna. Eclipse is always going to be 140 seconds. It's a bit of a long wait, but with the support Luna as well, the push is super darn fast.
LGD happily go after this Team 3 tower, and King Gaming may just feel the necessity to leave it. In fact, LGD don't want to risk anything more. They know those big ultimates are still up. They'll take a tier 3 and just take their time. They're 12k ahead. They've got the whole map to... That Somnus. It's not very convincing, Somnus. Trees got to throw on top of trees, but it's worked out for him.
Wouldn't he spawn a soldier? Oh no, not as a... No, okay.
Malithus there on Chalice. Somnus is still waiting for the moment to jump in. Kinetic Field not going to lock anyone in. Chalice just trying to get out. He actually has no remnants, but he does have an Aegis. Meanwhile, Erica trying to find X Nova in the back lines. Wukong's command is going to come out from Somnus, but it's really on nobody. But 3-man control here as Xiao jumps in. 3-man Black Hole is cancelled straight away. Erica's falling very, very low. He's just trying to run out of there. Chalice is still on top of all of them. He still has his Aegis, by the way. He finally loses it, but no, in fact, he wasn't dead yet. He does... Oh, it did... The Nightmare save from X Nova costs him. He wanted to die. Somnus still going to fight with the Battle Strike. Does get all the kills anyway. Fantasy, well, he knows. Somnus doesn't want to die for this, but he'll actually miss one of the lightning strikes, and that does allow him to survive. My God.
Oh, God. Jeez. Playing on the edge there, but that was still, of course, a win for LGD. They managed to bait out the ults. They got the kills they wanted. That death on Chalice hurts, though. Like, you saw what he was trying to do. He was standing in the middle. He wanted to die. He was denied his death and reincarnation by X Nova. That was literally just like a fraction of a second off from when he died. The expiry.
Yeah, that's
so that definitely costed them.
That's what we call supporting too good. You know, just too much support from X Nova. Chalice is point out. It does no damage. X Nova's just like, oh, was that a boat?
He's fine,
man. See ya. Oren? No, X Nova has a haste rune apparently.
That was your core Kunkka's full combination up against a support Bane who only has really the Glimmer Cape to mitigate that damage. That's really telling of the state of game right now for Keen, right? Like, this is what is going on for them. They're 19k behind. They'll have some decent progression on Erica, working towards the Skadi next. It's just, he's lagging behind so hard now. 12.5k compared to even old 11's 15k. Like, 2.5k isn't too much gold, but when you consider everyone else is actually behind Erica on his team, there's just not enough there in terms of itemization to boost their potential, to boost their power. Like, they need those big black holes from Xiao Fu. He's saving up for the BKB next. But when you don't catch that Bane, your BKB is not going to do anything.
Well, we've seen it pretty much every team fight. Like, the Haunt is there from Erica straight onto X Nova every single time. But, as you saw, X Nova doesn't die very easily. That Glimmer Cape is really going to help him out quite a lot every time that Haunt does come out as well. Like, it's never really going to be able to burst X Nova down fast enough. It's rough, especially when you're 19k behind Keen Gaming, and the Dota Plus is still giving him a decent chance, 10% chance for Keen Gaming to win this game. So that's the Spectre and Enigma factor, I'm sure, kicking in.
Yeah, I wouldn't say 10% is decent though. Like if those are betting odds, Mike, I would not want to bet with you.
Top Nate Palace gonna start an engagement by himself, but his team is leading in. Where are they going? They found Erica on the That's the biggest score you can hope for. Can you deal enough damage fast enough though? F5 is holding Eclipse right now, just waiting for that perfect moment. Meanwhile, Wukong's command from Summer's holding everyone in, and now the Eclipse will come out. Blood has the BKB, but it means nothing. Everyone's down with that buyback apart from that Disruptor. And somehow YDS did not die through that because he was farming the mid wave.
That cutoff should give them some time, but they're gonna rush into your force anyway.
Yeah. GG. That's enough. Well, clean. There's no way to compare.
No. Really not. Even with a black hole, it's just not gonna be enough. Really clean scenes from LGD. Just perfect execution in game 1. Closer in game 2, with Keen definitely showed up with better fights, with a stronger draft up against what LGD had, but LGD just managed to make it work. FY's support Luna, rough first 2 levels in laning.
OG's turn to ban.
Kill off Eidolons with Swashbuckle, maybe get a 1v1, and tri-lane, do Treant, Oracle +1.
It is a strong tri-lane.
OG tri-lane the Luna for the first couple of minutes, right? Earthshaker, Ench, Luna, they got a good start for Sumail, and I'm just wondering if Hellraisers do that early on. Maybe thinking the Void Spirit is going to be the position 1, or just removing the threat of Kasani on the co-op has been his signature hero, really.
Well, I believe OG is gonna start with a tri-lane once again. Enigma, like, he's the only hero that can deny the creeps and pull the lane back. They might even run Enigma on the safe lane, as they did Dragon Knight in the first game.
There's the monkey ban. So no thing there for mid one. Got pretty good tower defense, Hellraisers. Overgrowth, Pangolier, Rolling Thunder, great ways to fight around tier 1s, around objectives and choke points. Oracle doesn't really have a great target to be saving. Right now it's looking like he'll be targeting Void Spirit, but I guess this last pick will be the primary false promise target from Eposhka. It's just another day for Hellraisers to catch heroes. You're going to have to expend ultimates. Pango and Treant are your primary initiators. I guess Void Spirit gives you that reach and catch with the Astral Step and Remnant as well. Single targets.
Radiant team pick.
Weaver.
They go for the Weaver once more. Looks like it should be that mid Void Spirit and the Nyx Weaver coming out. Yet again, very squishy heroes from Hellraisers. And if OG pick up a hero that can jump in, dive on these heroes, maybe with a silence or a bit of a...
10
something like a
seconds
Puck. Puck would be good.
That's perfect.
Even
Next
Storm
damage,
Spirit.
silence.
Storm Spirit should be fine. They have very limited cash once again on Hellraisers, as you said. Like, you need to heavily commit with one of the either ultis from Pangolier or Treant Protector.
Choose your hero.
Bloodseeker. There's a silence, there's the gap close with all that movement speed as well. Mid one, Bloodseeker. The final pick from OG. Not what I expected at all, but it fits in with what I wanted, really. OG round out their draft. Seb will be on that Enigma. Hellraisers, it looks like it is what we expected. Nyx on the Weaver, Funnick playing the Pango, and Kasani on the Void Spirit for their 3 cores.
Oh, Bloodseeker, you really love to make Pangolier's life miserable. He can't use Rolling Thunder. You need to either stop or you're just dead. Also, Weaver playing on a low HP. Same goes for Treant at the early stages of the game, and you can see them. You can see them where they are if their HP is low enough.
And you're great at diving towers with the help of Luna and Chantress as well. And the great thing is, like, you know, Kasani uses Dissimulate, you put your blood right down, maybe you, like you say, rupture up Funnick, or you rupture up Nyx on these Pango and Weaver heroes who are so reliant on that maneuverability, or you just walk up to an Oracle and, you know, punch him 3 times and he's dead. Hellraisers, again, work cut out for them here in Game 2. I think you're leaning OG again draft-wise?
Yeah, their execution was really on point in the previous game. And I like the Bloodseeker pick. I think it counters a lot of these heroes. You can set up things perfectly. Like, imagine, it's not just about the silence. Some of the spells in Dota are great in terms of, like, yeah, it's an AoE silence dealing damage, but I'd say, like, Jakiro, Enigma, Bloodseeker's Bloodright, these abilities that they have, like, you choose where you want to fight. You can just block off a huge area where they can't enter, and this is the strength of these heroes.
Let's find out as we get ourselves into Game 2 of this best of 3 Hellraiser.